hands. How are we all doing this evening? We're good, yes? Yes, nice one. Nice one, dudes. I've had a pretty action-packed month. I was recently hit by a car. Wasn't the first time, and I doubt it'll be the last. But I was in a car park. Story checks out, right? I was in a car park, right, and there was a lady in a white BMW, right, just reversed straight into me. Bang! Knocked me down. Got back up. Took it like a champ. Right, but when she got out of the car, she said the weirdest thing to me, right? Instead of just getting out of the car and apologising like a normal human being, right, she just got out of the car and said, "Oh, the reversing sensors didn't go off." Like, what the fuck does that mean? Does that mean you saw me and just kept going? Or have BMW got like a new scanning system where they're like, "Nah, he earns under 40 grand, keep going." Technically correct. 42. Anyway. But I don't want to label that lady as a bad driver because I hate labels, right? I particularly hate labels when people give them to themselves, right? And you might be a few of you in here tonight who like to do that, right? You know those people who are always like, oh, I'm a crafty. I'm a craft beer enthusiast. I'm a crafty. Just own what you are. You're an alcoholic dog. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see anyone else trying to rebrand themselves that hard. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see heroin addicts walking down the street going, "Guys, I'm not a heroin addict. I'm a heroin enthusiast." You don't see it. That's all I'm saying. But I've had an exciting month. I was recently in a town called Nimbin. Has anyone here been to Nimbin before? Yes, great. You're not going to like this next bit. So if you don't know Nimbin, Nimbin's a hippie town in Australia, and I was there performing at Nimbin MardiGrass. If you don't know what Nimbin MardiGrass is Australia's largest marijuana music festival. Starts on a Thursday, because no fuck there has a job. Anyway, yes, I'm hoeing into hippies, strap in, right? They stole the soul from my body, right? I was performing on the comedy stage at Nimbin, very similar to this, right? Comedy stage is here, right? Next to the comedy stage, of course, was an anti-vaxxers booth. Comedy stage, anti-vaxxers booth, right, with 6 photos of 6 kids that had apparently died from vaccines, with 6 candles lit for each of those kids. You guys don't need to know much about comedy, but all you need to know is dead kids don't help. It was a tough time for Brett up there, you know what I mean? Like, I died so hard on that stage that night, I lit a candle for myself, you know? Whacked up a photo. It's like, R.I.P. my career. The next day, people walking by, it's like, "Is that a baby with a beard? That's wild." Right. But before I got to Nimbin, right, we had to get there on a bus, right? And we were driving from Byron Bay to Nimbin, and I met one of my favourite human beings I've ever met in my life, right? His name was Terry. Terry was the bus driver. I automatically liked Terry because in order to drive a bus, you must hold a mid-rigid truck licence. I also hold a mid-rigid truck licence. We had mutual respect for each other. Technically, I hold a heavy rigid, but I didn't want to alpha dog him too early. You know what I mean? You know, I was like, I'll let this simmer. Right, but so Terry's job was to obviously drive me, him, see hippies down to Nimbin. But also Terry's job was to load up the trailer with all the people's, you know, the luggage / Hessian sacks / orb balls / dream catchers, right? And Terry yelled out the most truest statement I've ever heard in my life, right? By the time Terry got to his 5th bag of fire twirling equipment, Terry just loudly yells out, "How many fire twirlers does the world really need?" I was like, "Preach, brother, preach." God, I love you, right? So we started driving down there. Obviously, I sat in the front seat, just in case Terry needed a break. Once again, holding the mid-rigid, I could take over. Not comedy, but I just like to brag. Anyway, right, so we started driving down there, right, and about 15 minutes into the journey, someone produced a tambourine in the back, right? Just loudly with a tambourine, right? Terry hears that, absolutely not having a bar of it, just loudly turns up AC/DC over the top. I was like, fuck, I love you, Terry. Nothing is funnier than that, right? But he topped it. He topped it, right? 45 minutes go by, right? Someone jumps into the aisle of a moving vehicle, right? With a set of bongo drums, just starts giving it all that, right? Terry clocks that in the rearview mirror, right? pumps the brakes, the guy goes down like a bag of shit. I was like, here's the paperwork, Terry. You are now my dad. Classic dad, loves that shit. But when I got to Nimbin, I was involved in even a funnier situation, right? So I was in a shop in Nimbin, right, and it's a normal shop, right, and this guy comes into the shop, you know, hippie-looking guy, nose ring, dreadlocks, full kit, right? Comes in the shop, right, and he had a stick with a limp. I was like, too much hacky sack, champ. Anyway, right. And he comes in the shop, right, and he goes up to the shop attendant and goes, excuse me, do you have any wolf rings, like the animal a wolf on a ring? Do you have any wolf rings? And she goes, yeah. In the wolf ring section, right? And me, like you, took that as absolute sarcasm, right? But you've got to remember, this is Nimbin, right? She's being deadly serious. She took this guy over to the wolf ring section. There was literally 40 wolf rings in this wolf ring section. And he starts scanning through all 40 wolf rings and just goes, no. None of them are for me, right? And I laughed, right? I laughed so hard. I was like, right? And he heard me, he approached me, come up and goes, excuse me, what are you laughing at? I said, brother, that is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, what are the odds that one shop has one wolf ring, let alone 40 wolf rings, and none of these rings are suitable for you? Like, that's funny, mate. That is funny, right? And he snapped. He goes, as soon as you find your spirit animal, you will take things very seriously. I said, brother, I have found my spirit animal. His name's Terry. Pumped the brakes on you before. Took you down like a bag of shit. I sarcastically said to the shopkeeper, I said, oh, ma'am, have you got any Terry rings? Yeah, it turns out she had 40. Very popular man. Speaking of popular men, I love my dad. My dad's one of my favourite people in the world, right? But I don't know about you guys, I got an old school dad, right? I don't have a modern day dad. Like, my dad's not one of those dads you'll see at sporting carnivals nowadays where they're like, everyone's a winner, dad. Like that's not my dad, you know what I mean? Like, my dad's like, you're first or your last champion, right? Right? And my dad's favourite sport growing up was backyard cricket or cricket, right? And none of us boys used to enjoy playing cricket with dad, and you're about to find out why, right? Because when you play backyard cricket with my dad, and he has that tennis ball, it doesn't matter if you're aged 3 or 30, right? When he bowls that bad boy at you, it is coming at 120 kilometres an hour, right? Like, and if you can't hit it, that's not his fucking problem, right? Like, I remember at age 6 or 7 just on the back going, oh my God, he's gonna kill me, isn't he? Dad just coming in like, should have cleaned your room, you little turd. Right? And then he'd just get you out straight away, right? Dad would jump on the bat, one beer in this hand, the bat in the other, just hitting us for 6 for days, like, yes, cop that, boys. Straight to the back of the garden, yes. Grab a few weeds when you're in there, right? Right, but then finally it happened, right? My older brother, Chris, he turns 12, right? He jumps on the cricket bat, right? Dad comes in with a tennis ball, 120 kilometres an hour. Cop that, you little dick. Ooh. Right? My brother lines it up, doof. Hits him for 6. We're like, oh my God. Someone has finally defeated Dad! Like, sucked in Dad! Suck a dick, Dad! Never would have said that. It was the 90s. He would have flogged us. Different time back then. Different time, right? Right, and Dad walked inside, right? And we thought that was out of shame and defeat, right? But just turns out Dad went inside and got a real cricket ball. And now I'm an only child, so... R.I.P. brother. Nah, he's alive, but his shins are really fucked. Anyway, guys, I've been Brett Blake. Have a lovely night. Thank you very much.